Welcome to the Stronger Than Your Boyfriend podcast, a podcast for anyone into fitness.
Especially for all of you Spartan race addicts.
We are Heather and Katie, owners of BarPath Fitness, here to help you sift through the bullshit and toxic misinformation that permeates the fitness industry. Today, we are talking about the fitness competition mindset and training beyond aesthetics and health, and when folks do one and done races or competitions or triathlons, Hyrox, Spartan races, marathons, CrossFit, all of it.
I guess powerlifting and the strength-based sports could be included in this.
Right.
When we're talking about the mindset piece of the competitive fitness aspect, but I think more so people definitely get into these races.
Oh yeah.
Which is real interesting. And we're going to dive into why.
Yeah, the question we want to broach today is, why do we choose to pay to suffer?
Well, my clients say this all the time, and I say this to them jokingly, like, man, it's really interesting that you pay me to suffer through this workout. I mean, it's not as much as these competitions, because you're just like, go, 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 burpees, 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 run, 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 sprint, burpee, jump, climb, etc. Strength training is lift, rest, but it's still hard.
Right.
I mean, people pay to do hard things. It's interesting.
Yeah. For a lot of folks, training isn't just about aesthetics. It's not even about health, for that matter. Sometimes it's something a little bit more, a little bit deeper, a little more competitive. So today we're going to talk about mental toughness, performance goals, and sustainability when it comes to a variety of fitness competitions.
Yeah.
So quickly, our experience with competitions, because we want to preface that we don't do Hyrox or CrossFit, but we have competed before. Yeah. So other than you playing sports and me doing show choir in high school. Beyond that, post-high school, we got into competing in various things.
Right.
So quick note, I guess, on our experience.
Yeah.
I dove into bodybuilding first. So I did 2 figure shows in 2011 and 2013, both NPC natural. Mm-hmm. And then I moved into powerlifting, which I did across 3 federations locally and nationally for 7 years. Yeah. And other than that, a few 5Ks here and there. Back in college. Yeah. Maybe a 10K. I can't remember.
I was talking about the 5Ks with a client the other day, and really because, we're getting into fall and the holidays will come and everyone does the turkey trot 5K around Thanksgiving. I think it's just because people want to feel better about
the turkey,
about eating all of the
not
food.
Not the turkey, the pie.
Yeah. It's not really the turkey. It's definitely the pie. So yeah. But I think that, it's different. Like I said, the Spartan race mentality. I have never heard of this Hyrox until recently. Yeah. Actually, a couple of my clients were thinking about competing in it.
Really?
They didn't decide to do it. They were, I think, just have a lot going on. But I was like, well, what is a Hyrox? And
we're going to get into that.
Yeah, we're going to get into what it is. But, we definitely did the strength-based piece. And it's still the same mentality. It's still hard. You're still training a lot. It's a different mindset for sure. Mm-hmm. And it is a lot of suffering, but I mean, you do it because it pushes you, gives you a goal. I mean, that's, I'm sure that's why we did it. I think I personally wanted a goal. I didn't compete in bodybuilding, but then this kind of shifted the focus away from aesthetics, right? Because that's why people get into fitness. They want to look a certain way, and then you get all into it. And then maybe if you're a fitness freak, you're like, I want to be a bodybuilder. And then that's a whole thing. And it's, shifting your mindset to being strong is really empowering. But you get in the competitive aspect of it, you can get in the weeds and it can get really hard mentally and physically. But I think that it's fun. And I think that everyone should do some sort of competition.
Yeah, I think pushing yourself to do something new, to try something is important. For you, you did, so I know you did a lot of sports in high school, and I did
a lot of sports
in show choir.
Yeah.
But after that, you did competitive powerlifting, and then you did Olympic weightlifting for a minute.
Yeah.
But broke your toe.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Did you do any other races?
No.
You did what's it called? Strength lifting? Remember when you did the strength lifting meet?
It was basically like a powerlifting meet, but instead of the bench press, you did overhead press.
Yeah, and you had to low bar squat, right?
No, I think you had a
conventional deadlift.
You had to conventional deadlift. And then it was squat, overhead press. It was kind of fun.
It was based off starting strength.
I never trained the overhead press that hard in my life.
Cool. Did you win?
No, I didn't win, but I did well. I did well
Okay,
for
I think
my weight class.
I think you won your weight class.
Yeah.
But you didn't win the whole thing.
No.
Okay.
No, I thought it was fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, I don't know. I don't even know why. It was just like,
Yeah.
let's do this
Yeah.
because it's different.
I think that's what we're going to get into is
Yeah.
the why. So let's first
Yeah.
talk about, because we've talked about powerlifting a lot on here. We've talked about bodybuilding, all
Yeah.
that. But for anyone who doesn't know, the kind of competitions we're more over talking about, and some of this will fall into the powerlifting and strength world, but it's more of these like one and done, I want to try it, or maybe push yourself to the limit stuff that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So Hyrox we mentioned, which it started in 2017 in Germany, so it is fairly newer.
Okay.
Which is why
Still been around longer than
yeah,
I would have
it's
thought, but
in 11
not in
countries
America.
now.
Yeah.
11 countries and 30 cities. It combines running and functional workout stations. So you run a kilometer and then you do one functional workout station and you repeat it 8 times.
Yeah.
So it's like a circuit with running in between. And it's pretty consistent across the globe. There's a world championship. They pride themselves on being accessible. There are 4 divisions, which is nice. And there's like a physical fitness test that gives you an indication of which division you should choose. So
interesting.
yeah, I mean, from I have a friend who I see him at SEO conferences all the time. Like he is a speaker and he lives in the UK, but he travels all over for conferences and is like a public speaker in the industry of marketing. Yeah. And he is obsessed with Hyrox. And like he will schedule his conferences and his speaking based on the Hyrox challenges.
Yeah.
Like but he's awesome. He's very fit.
Yeah. Well, when my 2 clients who were thinking about doing it, you know, when they brought this up, and I was like, oh, well, we need to start training for it. So I had them show me like what is the actual competition. Yeah. And obviously there's the running piece, I believe, which is like you run in between everything in all these types of races. But it was a lot of grip strength, so farmer's carry. So I thought that was cool. But then it was like the burpee broad jumps and
wall balls
and the CrossFit-y shit, Metcon shit. Which is like, whatever. I get that that's part of it. That's what makes the competitions hard, which is the draw to the competitions. So I think it just all falls in line with the Spartan race, Hyrox. It's all kind of in the same category. But
yeah, everybody knows about CrossFit, right? They have over 10,000 affiliated gyms across like 150 countries. Yeah. That's from the 90s, so we've all heard of that, right? And that was all about creating a universally athletic all-rounder, which means you're kind of good at everything and you're not great at anything.
You're not the best at anything? Yeah.
That's how I see CrossFit.
Yeah.
10 areas of fitness, which I didn't realize. I was actually looking this up because I'm like, I kind of want to talk more about this because I've only done CrossFit a few times.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are really into it. But it's cardio and respiratory endurance, flexibility, power, strength, stamina, speed, balance, agility, coordination, and accuracy.
I mean, that's a big claim because, I mean, yes. I don't know. I just feel like you can argue a lot of exercises do that, you know?
Yes.
So it's...
We're not going to dive too much in the pros and cons of CrossFit. You know what it is. You've probably heard our opinions on it before, but it is another example. The third example I want to talk about, and this I feel like Tough Mudders fall in this, like everything but like Spartan races.
Tough Mudder Spartan race.
Series of obstacle courses that are like also races. So you're running, but then you're climbing and you're crawling and you're carrying. I looked up the Spartan race because I've never done one. And I know people who have.
Yeah.
And there are a whole bunch of levels, but the first thing it says on the website is the hardest race on the planet. And then they offer everything from a small kids race to something called the death race. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't heard
If you go to the webpage for the death race, in big bold letters it says, "You may die," which they trademarked, by the way, or it's under trademark. There's a registered
and I
trademark
bet
on it,
so many people sign up for this shit too.
Well, you have to apply. There are only 2 a year, and the founder of Spartan races does them too, or comes to them. And it's in the like dead heat of summer and like the dead cold of winter. And you do you climb these mountains, and you don't know what the challenges are, and then you have to do these brain challenges while you're like exhausted. It's 70 hours. 70-72. It's insane.
Sounds safe. Honestly, if you're going to do this, you should probably just apply to be a Navy SEAL. Right. I mean, doing one of these races is, yes, I get it. And we're going to go into the why, the psychology behind it. But this, I don't understand. This is Navy SEAL training, and you're paying for this fucking shit.
Yes.
And I'm just very baffled. But, it's the more and more mentality. That's what it is. Yeah. People want more and more. They want more body fat loss. They want more muscle. They want harder and harder competition. So it is interesting that people get to this point. Yeah. Or they want to just be the best. And this is how they categorize themselves as the best if they survive the death race.
I think there's another side of it too, where I was reading a couple people's kind of bios who've done the death race or are training for it, and a lot of them have been through a very traumatizing event. Like one woman lost her child, and she was like, there will never be pain like this, and she needed to just work towards something, and she worked towards smaller races, and eventually she was like, fuck it, I've been through the worst thing possible. Let's do the death race.
Okay.
Kind of get that.
Extreme situations like that, I understand.
Right.
So maybe those are...
I feel like those are the people doing the death
maybe
race.
Those are the extreme,
I don't know.
The extreme people who are doing that. So, I mean, I do get that.
Right. That's the side where I'm like, okay, makes sense.
But it almost feels like a form of punishment to yourself. The like working through grief in an interesting way, and maybe punishing yourself. Maybe this person, just going back to the woman who lost her kid, for example, maybe she's punishing herself in a way. Maybe she blames herself. So I don't know. I think it's a very slippery slope. Yeah. Because humans aren't really wired to want to torture ourselves like this. Yeah. We just know that we have to in the modern day and age. But going this extreme, that's I don't know. That's just really far to me. Yeah. Like signing up for the death race. Like that's. Anyway, I don't know the actual difference between a Tough Mudder and a Spartan race. It's all the same shit.
So the Spartan race, I know the Tough Mudder is the one where you get like electrocuted and shit, right? Like they have like,
what the fuck is wrong with us? What?
I'm pretty sure they have all these like sensory things that happen to you, and then the Spartan race, I don't know.
Tough Mudder, I'm assuming you're crawling through mud like
the Spartan
Marines.
race, I think there's like a burpee, like if you
climb
don't
over
get a certain amount of
walls.
time, you have to do a certain amount of burpees or something. Like it really is a torture thing. Yeah.
It's just so crazy that someone came up with this. Yeah. Like, oh, humans are too fucking soft now in modern society, so let's torture them. Yeah. But okay, so let's get into just training mentally versus physically. So are these competitions great for your health and or physique? No. Will it challenge you mentally? Yes, we obviously know that, and I do think that it is important to do, but not all of the time, because I think challenging yourself mentally is just as important as challenging yourself physically, but they also go hand in hand. Yeah. So, it shouldn't be how you train long term, and it's not how you want to set your program up for a sustainable fitness regimen. But I do think there is value in pushing your body to its limits for a very short period of time. Yeah. But, big caveat, I don't think that everyone needs to do this, because most of the clients that we see are just your average person. They have jobs, they have kids, they have families, they have no time to do this shit. Right. And think about it, how much time goes into these training for these races? Triathlons too. We didn't really talk about triathlons, but it's the same thing. They're, you're putting all this time, especially, triathlon specifically, you have to go swimming. Like that's a whole thing in and of itself. You have to get ready. You have to bring your little swim cap and then your swimsuit and your goggles. You have to dry, it's time consuming is what I'm getting at.
That's the one I want to do. I want to do a sprint tri.
Those are cool. I mean,
the reason I haven't is because of all the prepreparation. Right. The bike. There's a lot. The swimming in open water potentially, there's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And, along the lines with what I'm saying, it's good sometimes for specific people to do this, but you also need to be in a low stress state in your life. This is the worst thing to do and to train for if you are super stressed with work, you're super stressed with kids, you're just run, go, you're not sleeping, and then you want to throw in a Spartan race on top of this. That is the worst thing you can do. Yeah. This is where it's maintenance mode and or recovery mode if you do feel like you're stressed out. But the other caveat is the people who are stressed out and want to do races like this are the type A people, and are the people who just, run and live off cortisol, and they're like cortisol junkies, and they love that feeling and they need that feeling. Yeah. So it's really hard because you can't really tell yourself to stop if you're that kind of person. That's just your personality. You kind of need someone else to tell you, so we're telling you now. If you're not sleeping and you're very stressed and your body hurts, you should not join a race or sign up for a race.
There's an interesting, they talk about this a lot in Ayurvedic medicine and yoga actually. Yeah. which is kind of funny, but it's like the people who want to go to hot yoga tend to be the most like they have the most pitta or they're most fiery active, and what they actually need is like a slower practice. And so it's all about like balancing your normal tendencies. Your male and female, your sun and moon.
It's like if you have too much yin, you need more yang, and vice versa. So,
but it is true, the people who like tend to be type A, kind of stressed out, like have to perform, always tend to go toward the workouts that are really intense and when they probably need to chill the fuck out.
And the other thing I see with these is, especially with the women that want to train for these competitions, they're still eating their 1,700 calories a day, and I'm just
it's hard.
Any person that I've trained or even talked to who's doing this, I'm like, okay, well, how much are you eating every day? And then they're probably trying to cut their carbs too. And I'm like, well, this is the time you need to eat a shit ton. You need to eat a shit ton of carbs to fuel your performance. You're going to crash and burn. And if you are doing these competitions and you are not eating enough, you will fuck yourself over hard. You will screw your hormones up. You will probably lose your period, which means your hormones are all screwed up. I mean, that's obviously if we're talking to a female, but you have to go in thinking this isn't about aesthetics. This is about the competition. We're not training for aesthetics as we're training for a really tough race, because that's where people go really wrong with this. They think, oh, I'm going to do all this cardio and I'm going to get in such good shape and I'm going to look so good. And no, you're not. You would actually be better off if you ate a shit ton and held on to a little more body fat while you're training for this competition, so that you have more fuel as you're training and as you're competing.
I always try to explain to people who are like, oh, I want to burn more body fat, so I'm gonna train for a marathon. And I'm like, that's the last thing you want to do, because you're gonna be hungry. And you're gonna want to fuel, and you're gonna want carbs, and like that. It doesn't work like that.
That's the thing, and just cardio in general. The more cardio you do, the hungrier you're gonna be. So, and then the body composition you want is not the skinny look. You want the muscular look, or the the toned look, like they all say. How do you think you get that look? It's building muscle. So and integrating the strength piece in this. And I know some of these races have a strength component, so you do have to train that, but you're training the strength component under fatigue. So you're doing the pull-ups after you've run, So, and it's like, well, that's not necessarily telling your body to get stronger and build muscle. It's just fatigue, cardio. Now you're doing like resistance training cardio / cardio. So it's not necessarily going to get you to where you want to be aesthetically, unless this is the only thing that you've done in your life. But also, that's the worst thing to start out with. You know what I mean?
That's the mental challenge. That I think there is a benefit, though, right? Like, that's what you were saying. Like, I think pushing your body and then having to perform is a huge mental hurdle. And actually, I took a Krav Maga class once. Have you ever taken that?
Is that the class where you just like move?
It's like a self-defense class.
No.
It's very intense.
Okay.
I did it when we were working at that gym in Chicago. We had like a studio there, and they let me hop in a class.
Oh, okay.
And I learned how to take a knife from someone.
Oh,
Super
wow.
Cool. Yeah. But it's all like, I remember the instructor being like, you're going to be tired. The point is, you want to be exhausted during this
while
class,
you're defending yourself.
and then defend yourself.
Yeah.
And you want to use the adrenaline. And so I kind of get
that makes sense to me for self-defense.
Yeah.
And it does make sense to me if you're doing these classes or these races too. Yeah. It does make sense to me to push
for sure
when you're super fatigued. I mean, that's how they do, army training, marine training. Like they sleep deprive you, and then they push you physically and to train your mental fortitude. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that it's really good to do hard shit, and we talk about this all the time. But at what cost? It's you have to find the right balance. And I do think that just the average person, like strength training is enough. Like it's hard. Right. And trying to move is enough, and just trying to figure that out. But there are a subset of people who are going to do these races. And I do think that pushing through the tough mental challenge is addicting. And that's why people go back for more, or keep signing up, or get to the point where they're doing the death races, which is so crazy. I just kind of can't believe that that's actually a thing. So
let's move on to the psychology.
Yeah.
Since we're there.
Yeah.
So why do people pay to suffer?
Okay, so if you think about our ancestors, so back in the day when humans were cave people, I think if they saw us now, they would think we're fucking weird. I mean, they would really think that we're weird because we are not, as humans, wired to do that. But there is something in there that, is hardwired to do this hard stuff, which is why I do think people pay and sign up to do this. But that's because we used to have to hunt for food and run and get food and carry big animals to eat and walk all day and move all day and forage for food. So I do get why it's wired in our brains for hard physical shit. But it's just it is weird when you think of, okay, well, you're paying to do this, and you're essentially just relying on extrinsic motivation, right?
Yeah, right.
You signed up for a race, you paid for it, now you're going to have to do it. So I do get that, and we talked about this in a previous episode, the extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation. You start with the extrinsic motivation. Yeah. There's outside forces that are pushing you to sign up to do this, but eventually you can and should and will get to the point where you're motivated internally, just intrinsically to continue to show up.
Yeah.
I don't know if people who continuously sign up for these races ever get to that intrinsic motivation. What do you think? It's interesting.
I don't know.
Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because there's also the factor of, social identity and achievement, right?
Yeah.
Like both of those are also reasons they can become a proof of self-worth,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, that's a slippery slope too.
Which, with powerlifting, I got there.
Yeah, I think everyone does who does any sort of fitness competition, even if playing sports your whole life. I mean, granted, when I did most of the sports, I was in middle school and high school, and you're kind of everything is the end of the world back then. So yeah, I think that when I was doing sports, it was definitely self-worth. Even competition or competing in powerlifting, you get to that point.
Yeah.
And that's where you need to back off a little bit once you get to that point.
Totally.
So
there is a documentary. I've never seen it. I don't know much about it. I don't know if it's super popular. I found it on the Google machine. It's called Rise of the Sufferfests, and it's all about this topic.
Should we rename this episode Rise of the Sufferfest?
I'm pretty sure it's probably copyrighted.
Yeah, we probably can, but
But it's about people's obsession with. It's specifically talking about obstacle racing, but I'm interested. So I don't know if anyone's seen it. Maybe shout out in our Facebook group. Let us know. But research does show a strong correlation between resilience and performance, right? So experiencing adversity can improve your ability to succeed in demanding physical, emotional, mental challenges. And vice versa, pushing through challenges can enhance your capability to handle adversity in life.
Yeah.
So there's also that aspect of it, right? A motivator for why people like to suffer.
Yeah.
Is either they've had adversity, like I was talking about earlier, or they don't have adversity, and they're like, I need something to challenge me.
That's also true too.
Which, relevant, right?
It's
valid.
really relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of people who get everything handed to them.
Yeah.
And that's also not how we're wired. We're wired to work for our shit, whether that's food, whether that's money, whether it's whatever. So I think that there's two opposite ends of the spectrum here. I really do, with everything, and then everyone in between. But I do think it does get tricky nowadays with social media because a lot of people like to post their life and post what they're doing. And if you're the powerlifter, or if you're the Spartan racer, or the Tough Mudder, and you're posting and posting and posting, and it kind of becomes part of your identity.
It's an expectation.
And it's an expectation. And even though the people who see your posts or follow you on social media don't necessarily think that.
But you have it for yourself. Yeah.
You think that, and you think that that's what you need to do. So it can become one of those things where you're doing it for everyone else but yourself because you feel like you have to, and that's also a slippery slope now.
Agreed.
Because how many social media platforms are there now? A shit ton. So yeah, and you're probably on all of them. So you have that potential external validation from more people than we could have imagined now because you can reach the entire world.
Yeah. Versus
before social media, you can reach your little circle.
Right.
Right? And it's not that many people when you compare it to the whole world who has, who has access to smartphones and apps. So, yeah.
On that note, we should talk about the sustainability of these races or competitions. So if you're thinking about doing one, we're not saying don't. Actually, I encourage everyone to get outside their comfort zone. I have a thing that I've always done. It's actually become 5 things now, but it used to be one thing a year that just really challenged me.
Yeah.
And so it used to be either powerlifting related or, whatever. I would just do something totally outside my comfort zone. Now I do a lot of things outside my comfort zone. That's just how I've become. But I think this is one of those ways, if you're just like, okay, what am I doing this year to challenge myself? This can be one of them. So if you want to do like a one and done and just to test yourself, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But it's really hard to kind of continue doing them. I think, is it better to always chase a next competition or medal and get, really excited and this is your program? Yeah. Or is it better to one and done these once in a while and get back to your regular program? Well, that one. But also you're a grown-ass adult, as Katie always says. You can do what you want. Decide what you want. Yep. But I think if you are going to be doing, multi-sport, cross-training, like preparing for competitions, you have an on-season and an off-season. So you have to have your diverse training blocks. You're always going to need a balance between strength, conditioning, recovery, especially when you're doing something on something intense like this. Yeah. Have we done a full episode on cross-training and multi-sport training?
Probably not. Well, like maybe we did. We need to look.
Briefly spoke about it, but I think that would be something we could dig into more because there are ways to do it, but you have to remember, like, if you have multiple goals, you're never going to be the best at one.
Yeah, and that's another piece. I remember when we, back in the powerlifting days, I just remember a few people being runners and also powerlifters, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I have a friend who does that, and he owns a powerlifting gym in Malaysia, and he's very good, but he was doing well in powerlifting, then he got into running. And I still think he's really good at both, honestly, but he's not the best, right?
Exactly.
And he knows that he won't be the best at either one,
and
but he just wants to push himself.
And that's fine. And I think that's a perfectly healthy route. Well, depends on the person. Hopefully healthy. Maybe you're doing some cardio, but you're also doing your strength. But that's just a healthy fitness routine. Yeah. Based off of
you've got
improving.
Your cardio.
Yeah. And so I would agree. I think that even once a year doing one of these races, but it's the becoming addicted to it. And now this is what you do, and this is who you are, and this is the only way you train, because I think over time you'll lose muscle too, because you're not really, if you are only training for these Spartan type races, you will most likely lose muscle, and we obviously know that that's really, really bad. Yeah. So, and that's not how you should be training, and that's not sustainable long term. Yeah. So you have to figure out how to keep the strength piece in there, and progress that and know that you are getting stronger, and then you are doing things right if you can incorporate these races once in a while. So, but yeah, I mean, like we're saying, it is good to set goals beyond aesthetics, because that just is such a slippery slope for everyone, and that affects everyone, and these races don't necessarily affect everyone. Not everyone wants to do them, but everyone wants to look good. So, and that's usually what gets them in the door to working out. But, I think that these races do become a replacement for that. But again, it becomes where, this is where you're now reliant on your self-worth, versus it's not your looks anymore. It's how you do in these races, or how many you've done this year, or how did you beat your time. So it's just, be in a good place mentally too for, before you sign up for this race.
I think that brings us to, when you do competitions, it's important, and we've talked about this in general with fitness, is to set process-oriented goals, not just outcome goals, right? Yeah. You don't have to be the best every time. You don't always have to win the medal. There has to be a process goal in there if you're going to be doing these a lot, right? Like, some of the best athletes in the world understand this. I remember, like, with powerlifting, for example, like, I would be competing with people at a smaller meet, or maybe even a regional, like, big deal to some of us, but, they were preparing for nationals or worlds, and they'd skip their last deadlift. They just completely skip it, because they knew that the bigger picture is this is just to get their mental, like, they want time on the platform. Maybe they're just testing their openers. Like, some of them would just skip, and we all be like, damn, we wanted a show today, but that's not the day. Like, they understand the big picture in the programming. So they have these process goals where they're like, okay, my goal for this meet is to mentally be here.
Right.
and do this, right?
Right.
Or have perfect form.
Right.
Or, you know, make this last squat feel like a 8 out of 10 RP, not a 10 out of 10, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, from the outside, people are like, wait, what? Like, I know you're stronger than that. Yes.
But these people know what they're doing.
But this is, exactly. A good coach or a good athlete will understand that, right? So,
yeah. I do think if you are going to try one of these races, having a coach obviously is going to be your best bet, and not even necessarily a coach for this race.
Yeah.
I think just hiring a trainer for the strength piece, because your trainer knows, if they're a good trainer, they know what they're doing, and they know how to help you rein it in, and they know how to help you with your nutrition when it comes to this, and they will keep you accountable for that, and they will also keep you accountable to, okay, you're doing all this other stuff, but we are getting our strength workout in. Yeah. There's no cardio, you're going to rest, you're going to sit down, you're going to rest, you're going to lift a weight, and we are going to make sure that your body knows we are still training for that, so that your joints stay healthy, so that you don't get injured, so that you can become better if you do get stronger. And, you know, I think, speaking for myself personally, and you too, you could probably get someone in shape to do a race. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you can program their cardio piece, you can program obviously their strength piece, and you can balance it for them. So I do think that is your best bet, because now you have a program to follow versus just, how long do I need to run? I'm just going to assume I need to run 5 miles today, and then I need to like do some burpees after or something. Yeah. Whereas your trainer can help put together a program so that you have built-in recovery too, because that's just as important. Yeah. Is the recovery piece.
Agreed.
You can't just train, which I get, that trains your mental fortitude piece of this, but you're going to feel like shit if you're not recovering going into one of these races. Yeah. So it's really important.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So if you're training for your first race, or you're trying to balance fitness with real life, we do coach our clients through personalized programming that keeps you strong and injury-free. Yeah. So you can check out our coaching at barpathfitness.com.
You should totally do that. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Peace out.